two most influential leaders when I first joined the firm were Earl and Janet, and I think they really set the tone and set the firm culture.
And Earl's been in the profession over 50 years, and he's seen a lot of change.
I was called to the bar in 1960. In my law school classes, almost 250, there were 5 women.
And he was at the forefront of involving and supporting and championing women before I think a lot of people even thought of it as something that ought to be happening or that people ought to do.
Janet Stewart, probably. She was the managing partner of the firm when I joined.
I was called to the bar in 1969. I was called to the bar on a Friday and I started at Lerners on the Monday in March of 1969.
She's an extraordinary woman. I think she got where she got with probably making great sacrifices, but she's a woman with class, huge patience.
And the two of them together, I think, created the culture that is Lerners today. I think they were the germ of treating women with dignity, with respect, providing them with equal opportunity. And I think it all started with them, and I think we carried on that legacy.
I think women have thrived at Lerners, and particularly the Toronto office, because it is, and always has been since I've been at the firm, quite a liberal, open-minded firm.
What has helped is that we've always had long-standing partners in the firm like Janet, now like Lisa, who've served on management, who through that work have exemplified what you can accomplish in the firm.
A law firm is all about the different businesses that each individual brings to the law firm, and so I always spoke to women who came to me about alternative arrangements like it was a business discussion. What works for you, and make a proposal to the firm.
The biggest thing that the firm did for me was work out a flexible working plan. In the years sort of immediately following the birth of my first, while I was pregnant with my second, and then for a couple years following the birth of my second child.
If you rush out the door because you've got a kid's concert to get to or a practice, and then you're making up for it by working at night or you're in on the weekend, there's just a level of, I've been there, I understand. So there's a respect for that.
They've always given me the room to breathe when I needed it. And in fact, there are times when I think people in this firm saw what I needed more clearly than I could see it myself.
People who are valued, members of this firm, can always be accommodated. Maybe it's our size, maybe it's our culture, I don't really know, but there is no one way of dealing with these kinds of issues when they arise.
A lot of things I knew about Lerners before I came, but the fact that there were so many women, particularly at the partner level, was something that was important to me.
Women are feeling here, I think, like they have more choices, not just to take on more than you can handle and being left with the feeling of overwhelm.
There's a real sense of community with the women at this firm.
It makes it a very comfortable place. One doesn't have to talk about it or champion it, really. It's just there.
I think it's a big part of the reason that I've stayed and continue to try and find ways to make it work.
What's been important to me is watching the women who make it work, who find a way to create a schedule that works for them.
There is perpetually role models and mentors available who may not be identical to me, but were similar to what I was doing.
When I started in the 80s, there were very few other women, despite the fact that close to about 50% of my classmates in law school have been women. It was a bit of a different environment than it is now, for sure.
When I see all the young women now, I think, oh, they've all got all these good friends who practice.
To have so many female contemporaries who are also somehow managing to make it work.
So when you look at these very, very smart women around you and they're doing it, you actually get the encouragement that you can do it too.
I think the people around you really is what makes the difference for everybody.
I hesitate to use the term, but I really feel like there's a sisterhood at this firm.
Definitely, and seeing them do so well in this environment, it definitely gives me confidence about being in this place as opposed to at other firms.
I think the best thing about it is that it wasn't mindful at all.
It's not anything we actually set out to do. I think it's just evolved over time.
I think the firm created the atmosphere where everybody, human beings, could come together and practice law, and because that environment existed, women were drawn here and stayed. And so we ended up with a firm where nobody's really paid a whole lot of attention to the gender of who we're collecting, but we like what we've built, and we like the atmosphere that we work in. We like the people that we work with, and we like the work that we do.